To start MIStudio, click the desktop icon or the MIStudio executable file in the MIStudio Suite folder. When you start a new project, or open a project that does not have a target, you are prompted for a target name and type. Select target type. In this case, we have only the Siemens Edge target. MIStudio can deploy to desktops, IoT systems, servers and the cloud. Click OK to finish setting up the target. In this case, we have opened a small sample project. Project panel opens, it shows project name and project tree. We have a number of applications in this project as we'll see shortly. To see targets, click on Targets. We need to configure our Siemens Edge target. We configure the target by entering the values in the Property panel. Enter the email address for the Edge Management Server. Enter the password for the Edge Management Server. Enter the full URL for the Edge Management Server. This must include the protocol, HTTPS and the port, usually 9443. If you are using self-signed certificates, or are unsure, leave the Trust Self-Signed as true. Click away from the Siemens Edge target and then click the Siemens Edge target again. This allows us to select the Edge device to which we wish to deploy. Choose the Edge device to which the project will be deployed. Here we have only one, the Ergo IED. That completes the configuration of the target. The application version number and the location of the matching app file are expert properties that should not normally be altered. The app file will be added to the Edge Management Device catalog if missing and so transferred to the Edge device. We'll take a quick tour of MIStudio, Ergo Tech's low-code no-code application builder. MIStudio is covered in more detail in other videos. Select the Applications node and right-click to add a new application. Rename the application from Untitled to Demo. The design palette contains a selection of objects that are suitable for building a graphical display. Simply click one on the palette and click in the window to add it. We click an annunciator here. Add a text field from Basic Layout. We can add additional components as needed. Here we've added a text input field. Click MIStudio 4.0 Build, 14090. The design palette has a large selection of graphical components enabling the design of elegant and sophisticated application. Click MIStudio 4.0 Build, 14090. MIStudio supports building high-performance HMIs. The goal of HMI is to accommodate all users with clear, consistent designs. Additional component tabs provide pipes, valves, tanks and callouts. With these, you can build sophisticated displays and drawings. Controls add additional buttons, sliders and indicators. Color changing, boxes and lines allow you to group components and add additional eye candy. Pop-ups and panels are part of MIStudio's very flexible components infrastructure. We'll talk about this briefly a little later. HAT provides components for historical, alarming, and tables. eCharts integrates the Apache eCharts library for almost unlimited charting capabilities. Component configuration performed through the Property Editor. Design Windows Test Frame allows interaction with the application while building and shows how the final application will look. In the test frame you can interact with the screen, for example, press buttons and enter values. Here's the piping view in the test frame. All MIStudio applications have two windows, the Design window, the view and a diagram window where the logic for the application is built. When the application is deployed, the design window becomes an HTML5 web view into the application. Click the Show Diagram Window button to switch to Diagram Window. When the diagram window opens, we see an empty canvas and the component bar switches from graphical to logic components. On Diagram Window, the palette changes from being graphical type components to being logic type components, allow us to build logic behind the design. We have a representation of the enunciator in the design and diagram. We can start to build the application logic. Here we'll just connect a counter to the enunciator. Click the increment server in the component bar and then click in the diagram window to add the server. Connect the server output to the enunciator input. The enunciator in the design window will begin to update live with the value from the increment server. Add a little more animation to the diagram window. You can use the test frame to test the text input. We've added a 7-segment display for testing. Diagrams palette contains logic components suitable for data manipulation, including scripting, strings, arrays, comparisons, and many more. There are also many PLC connectors. Drivers include Siemens legacy drivers for S5 and S7/PPI. Omron fins. Melsec Q series support. Rockwell/AB micrologics and SLC5 legacy drivers. Modbus, including RTU/ASCII support. A full suite of SQL database adapters for reading and writing any SQL database. This includes the popular triggered historical, which will automatically manage the database schema, creating columns based on the component names. IoT and cloud protocol support. The critical component for Siemens Edge integration is access to the database. We'll see more later. Right-click Components and choose Add Component. An untitled component appears. Change component name. As soon as the name is entered, MIStudio builds the component. Click the component and change the size. As with an application, we can copy graphical components to the diagram window and build logic for them. Press Ctrl S to save the component. This will trigger a build. Wait for the build to complete. Click the enunciator in the design window of the demo application. We're going to make the component pop up when the enunciator is double-clicked. Choose the Expert Properties tab. Double-click the Click Action property to bring up the selection dialog. Choose the pop-up option and the pop-up component as the name of the component. To test, we bring up the test frame and double-click the enunciator in the demo application. We see the pop-up appear. Components are very powerful and can have complex, reusable logic associated with them. We'll add the S7 data bus server to the overview application. Click on Applications to open the subtree. Open the overview application. Add an enunciator to the overview design window. We're going to connect that to an S7 register on the data bus. We're going to work with the S7 connector, which is already deployed to the Edge device. The S7 configuration is simple. 2 data sources and 3 tags. Open the Overview Application diagram window and select the Data Bus tab. Add the S7 Data Bus device server to the Overview Application diagram. Configure the device server with the Data Bus username and password. Add the S7 databus server to the diagram. Enter the data source name and point name for the S7 point. Associated the S7 data bus server with the device server. The completed S7 data bus server configuration. Add another S7 server and configure. This will read %MW2 from the second S7 300 data source. Connect the output, not the topic, of the servers to the corresponding annunciators. The databus can be hard to work with. It's difficult to monitor and configure in real time. To make this easier, in MIStudio we'll let you go live with the edge and so can see the updates from the data bus. Click Text Color property, then choose white from the color chooser that pops up. Then click OK. We can now see the values. The selected annunciator is showing the value of %M.W. 30, 77, and the gallons annunciator is showing the value of %M.W. 2, 17. Our application is complete. Time to deploy to the edge device. Click Targets and the Siemens Edge. Click Deploy to target to start the deployment. The application will build for a while, and then deploy to the edge device. Once complete, you'll see this window. Click Browse to target to go to the web view served from the edge device. Here's the view of our Siemens Edge application in the browser. The values from the data bus are updating as we'd expect. The application is responsive, so behaves correctly when the window is resized or when viewed on a mobile device. The menu on the left allows us to navigate between screens. Thanks for watching the quick overview of MIStudio integration with Siemens Edge and the Siemens databus.